Pop Culture Pastor.
All right, Cody, we are back for another watch along. You know, Cody, watching From feels a bit like my childhood nightmares come to life, only now they have a budget and great special effects. I mean, I used to fear monsters hiding under my bed, but now I'm pretty sure there are actual monsters lurking in my house. I swear after every episode I do a full sweep.
Well, someone needs to.
Someone might have slipped through a portal. I don't know. I get a little freaked out, creeped out sometimes because I always have to watch it late at night after my family goes to bed.
You need a talisman.
I like how you put the emphasis on man. Let's jump into the creepy world of From Season 3, Episode 3. We watched Episode 3.
We did.
And we are ready to talk about it, I guess.
I am.
You're raising your hand like you have something to say.
No, I'm just ready for my what moment.
Yeah, okay. Let me introduce it. Cody, it's time for What Did I Just Watch?
Okay. So what the From?
What the From? Is that what we're calling it now?
Yeah. So one moment this week, some people are going to focus on the wrong thing.
Oh, that's intriguing. Go on.
So there's an old lady. There's Fatima. They're hanging out. They're talking. They're like, oh, let's do tarot cards because that's what all the cool girls do.
Oh, I'm going to focus on it. Don't you worry.
And they're focused on the wrong thing. Because my moment is Elgin can't get a wink of sleep at this house.
Yeah.
Without something terrible happening. And this time, birds are flying into the window in the house and dying left and right.
Yeah, what the heck's going on there?
Elgin needs some sleep.
Elgin can't sleep at all. And all of a sudden, we're getting like this important scene with these things going on with Tilly, the suspicious old lady. And Elgin's just over there conked out.
Well,
and
they're
not going to explain that? Nothing?
He's been trying to sleep for a season now.
I know. That's why I feel like it's important.
And every time he does, something bad happens.
And they just refer to him as a secondary thing. It's like, oh, that poor guy, he needed that.
We really need to dive into Elgin at some point From.
My first impulse was, Tilly, you old hag, check his pulse. He might not be alive. I just thought that was super weird. That was just a super weird story point that they just kind of panned the camera past. I'm like, whoa. What's going on with Elgin? When last we left him, dude could not sleep without the crazy kimono lady popping up and freaking him out.
Well, he fell asleep.
Yeah, that definitely qualifies for What the From.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's just go into our recap for Season 3, Episode 3. Once again, we know that there are recaps that come out quicker.
Much quicker.
But I don't think that they can give you they can give you all these Easter eggs and details, but they can't really think about what they just saw. We like to sit on this and think about the story for a little bit.
Let it marinate for a bit.
Yeah, and then, so we can kind of have deeper thought going into this pod. So let's go into the recap. We'll go character by character this week, Cody.
We will.
We'll start with Boyd. Boyd still wants to capture one of the monsters. That's his plan, to trap one inside a building and slap a talisman on it to trap it.
It's what all the cool kids would do.
Do you think this can work? Is this going to work?
I fear it would have the exact opposite effect. That somehow they would then adapt and become immune to the talisman, and then everyone's breaking into all the houses.
I feel like most of Boyd's plans are really crackpots. They're really out there plans.
Well, it's a little trial and error.
Yeah. Ellis, his son, and Donna are both equally dubious. Donna's a little bit angry about it.
She's sassy. Every episode.
We're one episode removed from what are you doing? We can't have you risking yourself. But then she's all just like, well, I guess you're going to do this. And I'm like, what? What? Make up your mind. Can we be consistent here?
Nope.
Boyd is still seeing Father Kotri, who is still also being dubious of all his plans. Everybody's dubious of Boyd's plans. Let me ask you this. Is Kotri supernatural? Is something supernatural happening with him and his visions? Or is this just a part of Boyd's fractured psyche?
I feel it is a coping mechanism for Boyd and a bit of a reality check at times. Now, if there is something supernatural, that's interesting just because, like, no one else is getting that.
Yeah. I mean, he's definitely the only one we're seeing having the visions that talk to him of people that previously lived in the town.
Yes. Otherwise, we do have someone else that has a dead family member talking to him, but that's over the phone.
Yeah, and it's clear that that voice has ill intent, by the way,
Potential.
that we learn in this episode. But yeah, so I find it interesting that when he sees Father Kotri and he's having these conversations with him, Father Kotri or the vision of Father Kotri or whatever it is never tells him something he doesn't know.
Mm-hmm.
There's no new information ever showed or shared there. So that makes me feel like that it is a part of his mind. Like you said, he's just coping. His mind is coping. And that's really the vision of Father Kotri is like his self-doubt.
So this and the area that you're going to have your theory led me down another theory.
Is this a real theory or a crackpot theory?
It's a real theory.
Okay, so we've got a real theory and a crackpot theory coming up. Just a preview, so keep listening.
Yes.
At sundown, Boyd offers to switch places for the night with Randall, town bad boy Randall. Boyd wants to watch the creatures from the bus, and Randall gets to sleep in relative comfort in the police station. I'm sure all that's going to go fine. Nothing bad's going to come of this.
Yep. Sounds good to me.
All shipshape. Letting Randall sleep in the police station, sure, nothing. He's not going to get himself in any trouble.
I don't think there's much in the police station.
He'll find it. That guy's trouble. The harvesting crew. So last week you had the discovery of the vegetables
that were green and safe.
Yeah, and stuff that Fatima won't want to eat because they had a lack of mold. By Kenny and Jim when they were out there. And of course, Jim has his kind of light bulb moment where he's like, what am I doing? This is stupid. I need to be back with my kids. They go back. They find out that Kenny's mom has died, but business is business. The town needs to survive. So the town knows they need to send out a group to go harvest some of these veggies. So they draw straws. And wouldn't you know it, poor Kenny, like they couldn't give Kenny a day off.
Well, Kenny or Jim would have to go because they know where it's at.
That is true. So Kenny, Jade, Christy, and Dale?
Dale, who, like, I guess has been in scenes.
Oh, he's been in a couple.
But, like, you forget Dale exists, and then it's like, oh, that guy's back.
Yeah, he pops up, and then you remember that he continues to rival Randall as the most unlikable character on the show.
He is at Colony House, a.k.a. the hippie place.
The hippie house, as Cody likes to call it.
Yes.
Jade is continuing to see the visions. This time he sees a tortured man with a knife sticking out of his face.
That's never a good sign.
No. It seems pretty clear that they're happening more often. Jade is losing his grip on reality, isn't he?
So I do have a thought about that, but maybe I'll hold on to it because I got to check it out.
Oh, okay.
About his visions.
Okay. Christy in the group follows Kenny into the woods to try and prod Kenny into opening up because, you know, his mom's been dead for a whole day.
Yep.
Christy continues to be the worst. She is the worst. She's like Tom Skerritt's character in Top Gun after Goose dies, where it's been like one whole day and he's like, you got to get back up in the air, Maverick. Like, she just died. And Christy's following Kenny through the forest like, won't you open up? I mean, come on.
We're not at that stage of grief yet.
I know, man. Let Would they just leave Kenny alone? Christy's not going to be happy until Kenny has a full mental break. I think they just don't know how to write Christy. But now she's a character and you got to give her something to do. They're interrupted by a Jade freakout. And in the ensuing chaos, Christy steps in a bear trap, which that was pretty gnarly.
I asked the question, well, where did the bear trap come from?
Well, I mean, it's clearly from that settlement, right?
They had more advanced ways to capture food.
Who did?
The settlement.
Did they?
It's a bear trap.
No. Oh, okay. You think the bear trap is too advanced for what the huts look like?
Potentially. And I kind of wonder if each group that comes through, if the place adapts to their modern culture. Because not many of us have bear traps these days.
It is a curious thing, the time differentials from the different people we know have been there in the Fromville. And I suspect that we're going to get some of our time questions answered, I would hope, by the end of the next episode. But we'll get there in just a minute. After a few minutes of struggling with the trap, Jade has an idea and goes off to get some steel rebars, I guess, or whatever those things. You might be like, where's he going to get that? Oh, he's just going to desecrate those weird mannequin things and take them from, which I'm sure won't have dire consequences or anything.
I don't think so. It'll all be good.
Oh, again, shipshape. Nothing bad going to happen here. The camera shows us one of them falling over, and it looks kind of ominous.
The guy from Colony House did not like it.
Dale doesn't like anything. Dale cannot be the stand-in for the audience. Nobody is that bitter. That although for their situation, doesn't it seem like there'd be a lot more Dales? I feel like I'd be Dale.
I think people would have moments of Dale, like the lady that was like, you need to get out of the bathroom. You've been there for 2 hours.
Get out of the bathroom, you moldy vegetable eating tramp. That was over the line.
That was way over the line. But I mean, those moments would definitely happen more frequently.
Yeah.
I don't know if there would be as many people living constantly in that.
Yeah. So they finally get Christy out of the bear trap using leverage with the steel bars they took from the creepy mannequins. And they get in the old huts just before sundown. And that's kind of where we're left at with the rest of this episode. So ominous that one of the mannequins falls over and then they're in that settlement for the night. So we'll see if that has any effect. Fatima, let's check in with Fatima. Still eating rotten veggies.
Snaking them.
But not being very careful who sees her. This time, that busybody Tilly sees her chowing down on the moldy radishes. Tilly comes by her room later because she busts a quick exit and tells her she used to lick the inside of eggshells when she was pregnant. And that seals it. Tilly's totally a monster, right? What? You licked the what? The what?
Salmonella.
Also, how is that not your what the from moment of the episode? You licked what?
Maybe she washed them first.
Do you believe her? Do you think she's really who she says she is? Or is she lying?
Oh, I think she is who she says she is.
Okay. Fatima confides in Tilly that she's worried about what we're all worried about, which is that she's carrying around a monster baby. That's that's what she's worried about. What is this thing that's growing inside me? Tilly has an interesting solution. A tarot reading.
Or tarot, as we are from the Midwest and with strong accents say.
I was going with the original Italian pronunciation.
I know. It threw me off the other day when you said your theory, and I was like, what's he talking about? It didn't dawn on me like, oh, he's talking about tarot cards.
Tarot. Okay, I'll call it tarot just for the sake of uniformity. But Cody, this brings us to a special part of the show.
Okay.
It's time for crackpot theories. I have a crackpot theory.
Fromspiracy, as I like to call it.
Fromspiracy. So, Cody, the history of tarot. The history of tarot is interesting. It apparently is born in the 14th or 15th centuries as a game. It has tons of Catholic imagery in it. Are you aware of this?
I am vaguely, because I have watched enough horror movies to know.
Yeah, it even has a Pope card, which is weird because the church isn't too fond of the tarot. Most of the church, and I think your average Western society civilization liver, would say there's something occultish about tarot cards. That's like the thing, kind of witchcraft. Like there's something to it. I'm not saying everybody would believe that. I'm saying that that's just sort of the reputation. Well, here's where it gets interesting, Cody. Are you aware that the early history of tarot isn't like that at all? Like I said, there's actually a lot of church imagery in it. Apparently, the early salesmen who sold these, it was a game, basically, tried to spice up sales a bit by implying the occultist stuff, saying it was from ancient Egypt and so on and so forth. To this point, there's still people out there that think it goes way farther back, like goes back to ancient Egypt. But no archaeological discoveries have ever found any evidence before 14th century.
That's what they want you to believe.
So it was a salesman trick. And that view of the card kind of persists in a big way today. Our society equates it with fortune telling. But in the beginning, it was actually more about divination. Would you like to tell everyone what divination is? Or do you want me to just...
I'll let you go for it.
Okay. It's actually a way to divine, quote unquote, the will of God. So in the book of Jonah, they draw lots.
Yeah.
That's closer and more similar to what it was originally meant for.
So the book of Samuel, 2 Samuel, they have someone that is a diviner of spirits, and they summon up Samuel.
Yeah.
And Samuel's like, Saul, you jabroni. So like people are, it's kind of mixed within scripture, like if this is okay or not. Like it kind of depends.
Yeah. I'm by no means saying it's okay, right?
Yes.
I am saying it's a game. That's what it was meant for. History kind of tells you that. And there's
like
a reason.
Throwing dice.
Yeah, there's a reason I'm telling you all this. Because the occultist supernatural background of tarot was a lie. It's actually just a game. It was pretend. Now, back to Tilly, who's about to give Fatima her quote-unquote reading, and a crow smashes through the window and distracts them. Cody, my crackpot theory is that there's nothing supernatural about this place at all. It's a government experiment. That crow was sent by the government. It was a robot. The birds aren't real.
That would definitely qualify as a Fromspiracy.
I will accept my invitation to be on Alex Ross's show.
I don't know. Yes.
Or Alex Jones. Yeah. I said Alex Ross. I meant Alex Jones.
You combined like two people. But it is interesting. The only issue I have with it is the sleeping gentleman on the couch.
Elgin.
Yes. Yeah. Elgin is the one person that I'm like, okay, I don't know. You might be the key to everything. And that's where my Fromspiracy comes into play.
Yeah,
that
go on.
This may be like a group of people that are trying to go through and process trauma. Like this is a trauma, mental trauma care unit. And part of him not being able to sleep long is because he's reliving traumatic events through night terrors, and that they're doing it in a creative metaphor or analogy. Because if you look at the various characters, there's quite a bit of trauma with like each one. And if you look at Jim and Tabitha, they have a kid that is no longer amongst the living, and that would be traumatic. So I have said in the past that like, oh, from could be literally like they're in a hospital and like this could be a dementia or Alzheimer's ward. And now I'm transferring it a little bit to this could be a mental trauma rehabilitation thing.
Yeah. There you go. 2 theories for the price of 1.
Yep.
Speaking of Tabitha, it's time for our ongoing segment, Tabitha in the Real World. Henry, who is Victor's dad, allegedly, shows her the bottle tree in his backyard. Tabitha tells him about the bottle tree that Victor showed to her and had her get into, and how she was transported to the lighthouse. And when she finds out that this one, Victor tells her it's just a replica and that the original bottle tree created by his wife is located in a park a couple miles away, just conveniently. She insists that they make this trip to go see this bottle tree. And on the drive there, Tabitha is getting a little restless. Are we almost there yet? She's like, my kids. Are we there yet?
Yep.
How much longer? And she's thirsty. She's hungry. Henry tells her to open the glove box. There might be water in there. It seems like a weird thing to think there might be in there. Like you would probably know.
Well, maybe he had water at one time and drank it.
I'm quibbling. I just want everyone to know, Henry, I'm not sure that I'm buying what you're I'm picking up what you're putting down, sir.
He looks a lot like Victor.
Well, of course he does. He's his dad. Tabitha opens the glove box, finds the bracelet that Henry says his wife custom made for him. But the problem is it's the exact same bracelet that Tabitha made Jim years ago. And it's the same bracelet she found in the diner storage area in Fromville last season. So naturally, she starts freaking out because she's convinced now that she'd never actually made it into the real world. She's going through the same kind of questions we already went through as viewers. Like, is this real? But now she's convinced it's not. She starts yelling she wants out. Henry suspiciously seems intent on not letting her go or pulling over. Did you find that weird that he was being a little too adamant that she stick with him?
Almost, but she had done so much to try to convince him that, oh, your son's really alive and there's really this weird place and the things that your wife drew and the weird hippie bottle tree, oh, that's all at the Fromville. And so, like, I would want answers. And this person that is having a breakdown in my car, they might snap out of it just as quickly as they snapped in it. We're going to the Fromville tree.
Okay. I'll go with you on this ride. I think I just have a thing in my brain that says I don't trust you if you bring up your past acid use more than 3 times in 24 hours.
Well, I told you, hippies.
In the chaos in the car, it's the old TV trope. You almost saw it coming. Someone slams into the side of the car. She wakes up in an ambulance with Henry on a ventilator. The ambulance is trying to get to the hospital, but it's traveling through the woods and can't seem to find a sign of civilization. Trepidation grows as Tabitha, her uncertainty is making its way through the occupants of the vehicle until they meet a familiar sight. Ahead of them lies a fallen tree, blocking the road. Cody! Is she back? Is she back at the same time?
Was she ever really gone?
These questions, I assume, are going to get answered in the very next episode. I hope they are. I don't think I can wait too much longer to find out what's going on.
The show makes me wish that it was like Days of Our Lives that was on every day.
Yeah, our stories. My grandma used to, like we probably had grandmas that called it their stories. I got to watch my stories.
Oh, soap operas.
Yeah. So you see the tree in the road. You get the feeling of that, oh, wow feeling. And then boom, credits. The credits roll. So that's the end of the episode. I do have a few bonus storylines, unless you want to talk about that. Is there anything you want to say about that?
I like to think that it's a completely different tree.
Well, it looks different.
And
so someone did side by side of the tree that's blocking the road when they come when their family first got there. And it's a completely different setting. Also, if she's in Fromville, if she's back, it looks sunny and mild. And we know that Fromville's currently in like a blizzard.
Is
it's
she
at least
going
cold
to be like going back? Like, what if she's there at the same time she's there? Like, will this create a paradox?
Well, I learned from Back to the Future too. You don't want to let yourself see yourself.
No.
Great Scott! It could cause a rift in the space-time continuum.
Or will Henry be close to his potentially deceased wife and she be like, oh no, you're on a ventilator. And now I'm not going to be amongst the living anymore either.
And then right after she says that, Tabitha is going to see herself and it's going to rip the from time continuum.
So it was at this moment that in the car, when she finds the bracelet, that I'm like, is this an Alzheimer ward? And I was right all along.
Yeah.
I remember this. How did you get this?
How dare you? You stole this from me. Some of the bonus storylines. Ethan's perhaps moving through the stages of grief quicker than everybody would like. Boyd finds him in the diner cleaning and putting away dishes because, quote, that's how T and Chen would have liked it. Later, his pop snaps at him for talking about his mom in a pretty detached way, as if she's long gone.
Jim's kids. They get on my nerves. Quite a bit.
Yeah, seriously, though. You're not alone. Online in the From groups, not big fans of Ethan and what's the girl's name?
I have
Jim and Tab's kids. Not big fans. And I think it's fair.
Julie,
yeah. Ethan and Julie, through no fault of the actors.
No.
Like, it's almost like, well, we got to keep having them do something as characters, but we're not sure what, so we just kind of keep stringing them along.
So Julie's character is fitting in with teen angst and her parents going through a split because she knows it's happening.
All of that while you're in literal hell.
And then she's now separated from all her friends and everyone. So I get it. I'm
going to need her to go emo.
She's dragging Ethan along, and I don't need it.
Speaking of characters just getting strung along, Cody, and not making much sense, Victor shows up at Sarah's. Remember Sarah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had beef with her last year, but then we kind of redeemed ourselves a little bit.
They've let her back into town. I think they still have some beef with her. They don't trust her. Victor shows up at Sarah's, says they need to build a fort, and that's the end of that.
Wow.
We get no explanation. Like, what the heck is going on there? Victor, you dog. Oh, no, I'm just kidding. No, seriously, what is going on there? That was so weird. Why did they include that in the episode if they weren't going to like pay that off in any sort of way?
So if she's playing the mom character and he's still like a 10-year-old boy trapped in a 60-year-old man's body, it goes back to my Fromspiracy of, are we in like an Alzheimer's ward and we're like having distorted memories and like trying to relive those moments even as an older person, even though it isn't happening.
Yeah. Anything else about the episode that I missed that you want to bring up?
The phone call.
Oh, yeah. We should talk about Jim getting another phone call from fake Thomas.
Yes.
From dubious Thomas.
I
doubt it's Thomas. That's a better nickname.
Yes. I can't believe it's not Thomas.
I can't believe it's not Thomas. He's only wishing danger upon your remaining children.
Maybe he's seen how they've behaved.
Why is he the only one? Now, so Boyd is the only one seeing visions of Kotri and other people who passed on.
Yes.
Jim, remember when he hooks up the radio, when he got the radio running, he got a very ominous voice that was threatening. And so now he's getting a voice that's claiming to be Thomas, which I think we can fully say now is not.
Potentially.
And, is like telling him, wow, I can't believe you let your kids play outside right now. Hope something bad doesn't happen to him. Freaks him out, of course, and he goes running out there.
The only person making sense, really, is Thomas.
Thomas is just a good Samaritan on the phone. He's just saying, yo, Jim, you might want to go get your kids. I mean, Boyd's out there ringing the bell. You do something? For goodness sake, do something, Jim.
I would humor Thomas. I would carry on the conversation. Jim frustrates me.
Yeah. He gets too emotional.
He does.
Like, he's so sure it's not Thomas, which is fine. I get why you come to that conclusion. Keep it talking, bro.
Yes.
Like, get it to slip up. Get it to tell you too much.
Where are you calling me from?
Excuse me, Mr. Government worker, sir, pretending to be my dead son. Can you tell me what all this is and why it's attached to the government and experiment? Thanks.
And are we in Maine or Massachusetts?
Camden, Texas? All right, Cody, what was good about this episode for you?
Honestly, I kind of am intrigued by the other settlement. Mm-hmm. What's going on there and the changing of the seasons.
Yeah, that's interesting too. I'm going to go with another cliffhanger ending. That's like pretty much every episode this season has had an ending that ends on a whoa, okay. And it reminds me of Lost was good from the beginning, but it was like in season 2 and 3 where they started to hit this rhythm where the end of every episode left you on this place of like, what in the world is happening? And you can really feel From getting into this rhythm now, where at the end of every episode, they are intentionally trying to drive, shows like this. I think they understand what they have now, which is they've generated these online groups of people who are really into the Fromspiracies and the From theories.
And talking about what the From moments.
And I think this is good. I think it's good for their creative stuff. Just learn from the mistakes of Lost and have a definite ending that you're working towards.
Yeah, Alzheimer's ward.
just as long as it's one of Cody's theories so he can be right. Cody, what's not so good about this episode?
Jim and his kids.
Yeah, we're in agreement. I have written down here they need to do something with Jim and Tabitha's kids because right now they're risking them becoming caricatures as they sort of just kick their story down the road. Seems like the scenes with them, they're just trying to give them something to do so they appear in the episode so they're still there. But their character arcs are stagnant and they're risking people turning on them, which they kind of are.
I was already anti them like a season and a half ago. So,
oh my goodness. You either got to bring Tabitha back, do something because the kids are getting out of control. And Jim clearly doesn't have the dad energy necessary.
He doesn't. What I'm really hoping for is when Tabs gets back, the son is now Victor's age.
Yeah, that would be amazing. All right, Cody, it's time for RIP, our weekly segment on honoring the deceased. Could you hum? We're here today to pay our tribute and our respect to Casey the Crow, who lost his life absolutely yeeting himself through Colony House window. Earth to earth, ashes to ashes, dust to dust. In sure and certain hope of the resurrection to eternal life through our Lord Jesus Christ that Casey doesn't have because he's a crow. Rest in peace, Casey the Crow. You lived a short life, but you're a robot because you're government controlled.
The birds aren't real.
The birds aren't real. Remember, the ducks in the park, you can pick them up and take them home. They're free. The government doesn't want you to know that.
I was also going to say that lady's ankle.
Christy's ankle. Yeah. Rest in peace to Christy's ankle. Yeah, but seriously, what are they going to do? That's going to get infected. They're going to have to lop that thing off, aren't they?
That's what I'm hoping for.
That was dark, man.
I have seen enough movies and TV shows where gangrene sets in or the zombie virus, and you just gotta lop it off.
Man, Christy's girlfriend's gonna be inconsolable.
She will be.
It's really annoying. All right, what did you guys think of episode 3 of season 3 of From? we had a good time with this one. That was a fun episode.
It was.
I am so looking forward to, like, we put this out, so this will come out the day after the next one drops because they've done something weird with the schedule. Originally, these were supposed to drop later, but they keep doing them early.
I'm good with it.
I'm good with it too, but it just messes up our schedule a little bit. But if you're enjoying listening to these From watch-alongs, please share them with your friends, especially if you're in one of the From groups. I've been interacting in some of the From Facebook groups. Really fun people, digging the community and interacting with some of the Fromspiracies that they have.
And what the From moments.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get that one to catch on.
We're enjoying it. We hope you're enjoying it too. We'll see you next time on Watch-Alongs.